there on the West Coast. He's got that in his background for quite a while, and he's been very passionate about late models, and that's one of the reasons he got into the Cars Tour. And running this weekend under the KHI banner again with his son Keelan, and new interest there with Keelan's racing career. I think KHI has got another level to look at going ahead. Kevin's already been in a couple of practice sessions this afternoon. On the NASCAR side of the fence, he's currently third in the NASCAR Cup Series standings. Had a season best finish of second at Darlington this past weekend. And Kevin, why don't you just start off first, talk a little bit about racing here at North Wilkesboro Speedway with your Cars Tour this weekend. He'll be competing in the Window World 125 tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, I think first, thank you to Marcus was just showing me all the new improvements and everything that has happened here in a short amount of time. And I think for a number of years, I don't think any of us ever thought that this was possible. And I came to the Smart Tour modified race last year to watch the first event because I wanted to see it with my own eyes. Man, has a lot changed since that race in not only the appearance of the racetrack and the facilities and the media center and everything that goes with it, but now we're part of the ownership of the Cars Tour, sitting over there with a race car under the KHI banner, and a lot's changed. Since I came to this particular race last year. So, I think for me, I blame everything on Dale. That's what I tell my wife as to why we need a new late model or a new trailer, or why we're purchasing a partner in the series. So, and that's really just an excuse for me to go do something fun during the middle of the week and as I retire next year. And you did mention Keelan. I think for me this is there's a lot of moving pieces to the things that happen post driving, and I think as long as Keelan's passion and everything stays along the lines of what he's doing, obviously the late model stocks and the super late models and the pro late models and short track racing in general is somewhere down the road, and I thought it was better for us to have our own cars, and so this is kind of the debut of the late model stock, and we're getting a real life reality check in how hard it actually is. So it's I think from the non-driving side, the ownership side, you look at the tour and first 4 races and everything that our competitors have brought to the table, and car counts and competition, and it's been pretty eye-opening as to where short track asphalt oval racing is at. To see 100 and right at 140 cars sitting in the infield today between the ASA cars and R2 series is great for short track racing, and that's really what our group is about. That's what our passion for the Cars Tour. That's what my passion is for post-retirement and being able to go have fun, and I think the better the Cars Tour is, and having a great place to race like this really lets us showcase short track racing, whether it's from our side or from the ASA side. It's really all the same, right? You want as many people to witness your great drivers and teams, and you want to give the teams and drivers great places to race. So here we are.
So Kevin, I saw some of the social media posts the last couple of days. Apparently this car you're running this weekend is kind of a passion project for Rodney Childers, and I saw both of you post about that. Talk about the car. And
yeah, so Rodney grew up here in the Southeast, ran a lot of late model stock races, and has a passion for the series, and really all this started with the car way before the rest of this all happened. So I think he's been working on the car 3 hours at a time for a year and a half, trying to make sure that we have everything that we need to actually go to the racetrack, because neither one of us wanted to go to the racetrack and have to borrow something from your neighbor, coming from the things that we do every week. So we took our time with it, and whether we run first or last tomorrow, we're gonna learn and have fun, and for me, seeing him as happy as he is working on the car and being a part of it is something that I'm happy to be a part of as well. So it's we'll blame that all on Dale. We won't blame it on Rodney. But it's fun to see. It's fun to see his passion for something that has bled over into everything that it's led to, there's a lot of things that go into it from a time standpoint. But I think for me, being able to run the 62 on the car and run it out of the KHI banner and have him involved in it, and have a stake in the Cars Tour series itself. There's just so many things that are fun, and I'm proud to display this week and be a part of this week.
Sounds good. All right, let's open it up to some questions. Please raise your hand. We've got a couple of microphones here. Tyler, we'll start at Jordan, and then we'll go there to the second row.
Jordan Bianchi, a couple questions. When you come to a race like this, do you have the same expectations of I want to win, and how do you manage that if it's not?
Yeah, well, I think for me, this is kind of the first. It's really the first exercise of post driving, and I think for me, I did not want to race the car. I felt like it was not the right thing to do, and Dale talked me out of it because of his passion for it. He's like, look, man, it doesn't matter if you win. These guys want to be on the racetrack with you. They want to talk to you. They want to learn from you. And I think for me, that really opened my eyes to kind of the initiative. One of the initiatives that we have as a group is to help the guys and gals and team members that are driving the cars, the team members, and everything that goes with it. How do we help prepare them for what is in the future? How do we help be a bigger part of trying to expose the Josh Berrys of the world to the world by giving them a bigger platform just by being around? And so, I think for me, Dale has been a big part of say, hey, you got to go have fun with this. This is not about winning or losing anymore. And I think for me that's hard to separate. But there's a lot more to it. I went through the tech line and met all the officials for the first time today. I went to the Hoosier Tire tent and met the guys mounting the tires. I met the folks at the front pit gate to see how you got in. And so there's just way more to it than a win or a loss this weekend. It's really more about being a part of the event. Obviously, we want to build our cars to be competitive as we go forward and do what Dale has done with his late model stock team, but that's just, I don't know that that's actually even possible this week with everything that goes into it.
When you started this venture, it was the off season. So now that your season has started and the Cars Tour has started its season, what is your involvement on a regular basis? What is kind of the roles that the four owners have of the series, and how you guys divide everything up?
Yeah, well, I think Jack and Keeley want to kick us out most of the time, because I think most people would actually be really surprised in how much interaction that the four of us have, not only just with our group, and how much we talk about things and how much we want this to be successful. Because look, I mean, it's important to take the momentum that we have with short track asphalt oval racing at this particular time and be able to grow it, but also not outgrow our competitors, right? So I think the most important thing that we talk about as a group is how do we keep this as much the same as possible for our racers and give it a bigger platform to show them off. And so we spend a lot of time with it. My wife actually blocks us during the races. She blocks our text chain because she gets tired of hearing myself and Dale and Jeff and Justin text back and forth about whatever's happening during the event, what we could do better. And I think that the respect between the four of us, like, nobody's ever been offended of having the other one disagree, and very rarely do we disagree, but everybody is so passionate about trying to make it go forward that when somebody points something out, it's like, oh yeah, good point, and we move on. So it's it's something that we're I guess this is the 5th race, and we're highly involved in what happens with each other, but we're very careful because we don't want to disrupt what Jack has built and what Keeley does, and what those two do on a weekly basis, and what the tech officials do on a weekly basis, because they built something that we can be involved in, and not we want to be very careful about disrupting it.
Here.
Bring light to NASCAR routes. We've seen this track chew up some rubber during its practice sessions today. So, how much are you expecting tire conservation to be a factor, not only for tomorrow's race, but also for the rest of the week?
Look, I have no clue. Every race that I watch looks somewhat like a bicycle race with the late model stock cars. So, you know, I think it's changed this year because of how many cars there are and how competitive it is. It's harder to get back through the field with the tire conservation, but I think you have to be aware of it. You know, the late model stocks are a fair amount different. I do believe there will be some tire conservation that goes along with that. The Cup cars, everything that we've done so far is hard, has been in the simulator for me, and it's hard to get to full throttle. So, you know, I think as you look at that, I think the tire management and wheel spin is definitely going to be important. But I'm kind of on the late model stock side, I'm in a steep learning curve as to what's right and what's wrong. So well, I'll probably just get in the middle of the pack and just see how it goes. I don't know. It's going to be fun either way.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Kevin, everybody has to find their lane in their interest, passion, or what have you, particularly after their athletic career. You mentioned Dale, and obviously Dale's been very involved in a lot of different things, and it's not just Dale, there's a lot of people here, but Dale certainly provided momentum, and he's been able to do a lot of different things that kind of get people excited. I know he has the benefit of his fan base, but when you look, and as you're planning, obviously going to have even a larger platform with television, how do you look at what your lane is, what you can do, and how you can make an impact in essence of giving back to the sport? And is Dale, is that kind of a model, or is it Jeff Burton, or is it somebody else, or kind of how you kind of look beyond this season? Because I'm sure you're already kind of thinking along those, and you're already doing things.
Yeah, well, I would tell you that most of that's already laid out because I'm just a planner. And, you know, I think for me, the TV side is obviously the first piece of the puzzle that you had to put together. And, you know, I guess the Cars Tour thing kind of evolved after all of that evolved, which evolved into the race team. And, you know, we've had to, you know, you have to move around a few things in the management company to kind of replace the things that I do on a weekly basis that won't be as time consuming. So I think you'll see some drivers added to that particular list of clients. You know, that's our goal. So, you know, I think with everything that we've redone as far as alignment and you know, look, my passion is racing. So, you know, my job is to talk about the things that I've done for my whole life. But, you know, I think for me, having some flexibility in my time as I go forward to make decisions in the second half of the year when I'm not at the racetrack with Fox, I think is important to be able to say, okay, you know, North Wilkesboro's racing on a Wednesday night, or Caraway's racing on a Wednesday night, or, you know, you go run the super late model race at Tuesday night at Slinger, or whatever that is. I want to do that 7 or 8 times and be able to go do some racing during the week, but also be able to take some weekends off and go do some fun stuff with my family, or go to Europe and watch Keelan race. And so, you know, finding a balance with all of that is interesting. And, you know, I think Dale does a lot of great things for our sport. I don't think, heck, after practice today, he was sitting in my trailer. You having fun? What do you think? You know, you need to know what shocks I got on my car. I'll tell you what springs and shocks I have in my car. If you guys need it, you just tell me. And, you know, that's just Dale. He's always, he worries so much about everybody else, and you know, he doesn't have to, but he cares a lot about the sport in general. And I think that is something that obviously he has a big fan base, but people don't realize the amount of time and effort and things that he puts in. You probably see it more than most, and Jeff is the same way. When you look at Jeff and the things that we've been able to experience with the Drivers Advisory Council and the things that we've worked through over the last, I guess, year and a half, we've spent a lot of time together, and I think when you take those perspectives and then you add Justin in there with his fresh and unique approach on team ownership and the things that they do and how they approach things, it's a good group of people to learn from and things that are good for racing. And in the end, we're racers, and I've tried to do other things outside of racing, and it's just really not my passion. I really thought that 5 years ago I would just get out of the car and go do something else, and all of a sudden I've got this 10-year-old kid running around the world racing, and because when COVID started, he decided that he wanted to race. Well, guess what? You go to the racetrack and you see the mom and the dad and the kids, and you remember, you're like, man, I really like to do this. I love racing. So I guess to make a point here, when you see what Dale has done outside of the car, and when you see what Justin has done with the team ownership outside of the car, and Jeff has done and the impact that he has made outside of the car, yeah, I think we're strong as a group. From an ownership side, we all look at things a little bit different and approach things a little bit different in our delivery. But I think when we know our lane of how we can approach things and how we can benefit from each other, it's a strong group to help short track racing, to help the drivers, to help the sport, and as many angles as we can come at it and help racing, NASCAR racing, short track racing, ASA series, because if NASCAR Cup Series racing is great and we have superstars that are driving those cars and more people watching, that's great for short tracks and that's great for short track racing. But I think one of the biggest impacts that it has when you look at the Cars Tour ownership side of it is it shows those guys and gals over there that you care. And when they open up this racetrack to let them come race and put them on display, that's what they want. I mean, when I was growing up racing late model cars, I wanted to be able to put my name at Winter Heat or the Copper Classic, and it'd be tape delayed 2 months, but you'd still be on TNN, and you'd get some exposure out of it. And that's what these guys need and gals need is to be able to have that exposure. And the benefit of having a group like we have is being able to push some different buttons compared to the folks that don't have the opportunity of knowing everybody, like the Marcus Smiths of the world, that are like, Marcus has the same passion too. He wants to see 140 cars sitting in his infield, whether it's here or at a legend race or national event or regional event. Look, it all helps raise the tide if we can make our lane of stuff better and work with other people.
Thank you. Bob? Bob Piper, Stock Sports. So is any of your being in the car this week, or today and tomorrow, designed to help for Sunday? I figure maybe you're not trying to figure out which patch is going to have the most grip for...
No. It's going to be, it's so much different from a power perspective. And we're going to know, I'll know where the bathroom is and how to get out the back gate to the motorhome, and you'll know the racetrack. But to me, this today and tomorrow there's so much more to it than just worrying about something to try to make the Cup car go fast, because it's just so different. This is really about learning and seeing the competitors and being a competitor and learning the process of everything that goes with it.
So even if it's not applying on the competition side, talk a little bit about just the spectacle of the NASCAR All-Star Race coming to North Wilkesboro Speedway of all places.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the first time in my Cup Series career that the All-Star Race was like the race that you wanted to watch and see and couldn't wait for. And nothing against any of the way that we've done it in the past, but this place has been sitting here since 1996, correct? And I think with the energy towards short track racing, to be able to revive this place and bring the All-Star Race here and have what I believe will be an electric crowd to race in front of and be a part of is something that you just don't get to experience a lot. And I think it's important for our young guys that maybe haven't experienced some of those big moments to feel that electricity and excitement and traffic jams and lines at the beer stand and anything else in between of a big event, because I just don't know that sometimes I don't think they shoot high enough because they just don't know. And I think this is going to be one of those events that just has that electric feel to it, and I think it's important for those guys to experience it. So I'm expecting that. I think the fans are expecting that. I think that the television viewers are expecting that, and it's great to have an event that everybody is looking forward to as the event